Welcome in episode 75 of What's Right with Nick Wright, the podcast and YouTube show. And it's very apropos that it is episode 75 because we are a few hundred people away from hitting 75,000 subscribers on YouTube. And while Damonza maybe knows this, maybe doesn't know this, if we get to 100,000 YouTube subscribers before the end of football season, not only will Damonza get, I've decided, the plaque that YouTube sends when you get there, he will also get a $1,000 cash bonus.
Oh,
I think if we get there. So listen, I've given up all hope of people following me or doing anything to make me feel better, but the audience, for some reason or another, likes you a lot. So we're just shy of 75,000 subscribers on YouTube. There's a lot of work that goes into the YouTube show. I'd love you to check it out. And if you're someone that subscribes to things on YouTube, today is a great day. If we get to 100,000 before the Super Bowl, I'd love to get there before the end of the regular season. We get a plaque, and Damonza gets a cash bonus. We have a massive show for you today, as you will see this right before Thursday Night Football, hopefully a few hours before Thursday Night Football. But as we always do, let's first discuss what we're not discussing. Here's what did not make the cut for today's show. Not what, you know what, that's a lie, because Aaron Judge will make the cut. More on that in a moment. LeBron invests in pro pickleball. This led to a very interesting text exchange between me and Maverick, where I told you the last time you guys invested in something, Lobos Tequila, that the next time you invest in something, hit your guy Nick Wright up, see if I can, well, just let me throw in a few shekels. And once again, unintentionally, my guy Mav, a little pocket shaming there, like, I don't have the capital to be a significant investor. LeBron, Draymond, Mav, and Kevin Love can do it, but your old buddy Nick Wright can't. Russell Wilson's ridiculous, dangerous commercial. I'm even though I think Russ is the corniest man alive, I think it might be a deep fake. Not discussing it now, though. On Aaron Judge, so Roger Maris Jr. came out and said if he hits 62, he's the real home run king. Everyone's going to be debating that on television today. I bet I'll be debating that on television today. That's not what I want to discuss. What I want to discuss is the fella Frankie Lasagna. So that's the man's real name. And Damonza, I'll show you the clip later if you haven't seen it. He's at the Blue Jays-Yankees game. He's in the perfect seat. He has his glove. This is going to be at least a $500,000 ball, probably more.
Dropped it.
Not as bad as dropping it. He was front row, and it went 2 inches beneath his glove.
Right.
And he's beside himself. So here is my call to action for America. Can we please start a GoFundMe for Frankie Lasagna? First of all, it is an all-time name. I know everyone's going to be making that point today. It is simply an all-time name. Second of all, he'll never get over it. Damonza, it has been 5 days since you lost a few $100 gambling. Have you yet had a day where it didn't cross your mind?
I mean, I was just about to say, this makes me feel a lot better about it, but not a day.
Can you imagine if for the rest of your life, every time you got a letter in the mail, you have an overdue credit card payment, or the car payment's due, or you get declined on a mortgage for a house, you're thinking, if I had just been a quarter inch taller.
I'm jumping out of my seat for that.
Well, no. There was no, you land in the bullpen, then they don't let you keep the ball anyway. But can we just make this right? Judge?
Make it right.
Yeah, make it right. I have seen GoFundMes for the stupidest things in the world.
True.
I've also seen things that go viral that are clearly a premeditated attempt to get people to do a GoFundMe. So let's just do one. You know what? I'm in a good mood. If someone reputable makes a GoFundMe for this fella, I'm in for $500.
Wow.
Someone make Frankie Lasagna a GoFundMe. We can easily get it to 100K.
Is Frankie Lasagna famous?
No.
Oh, this is just.
It's just a dude.
It's
just a Blue Jays fan.
Wow.
Just a fellow Paisan, Italian living in Toronto, enjoying some baseball.
So, I mean, I know it was the record home run that he would have hit, but, like, is his next one that gets
the next
hit
one will be worth more.
Going to be, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think Frankie Lasagna is going to be there for it.
Yeah.
I think the odds of that are pretty slim.
True.
And so I was getting nervous Judge wasn't going to hit it. He's been sitting on 60 for a while. He's been getting walked. He got 61. It's a great story. Let's make sure it's all winners. The Maris family's happy. Judge is happy. There's one sad person, and he's Frankie Lasagna. Let's get a GoFundMe. I'm in for $500, and let's get him a nice little 6-figure payday.
Okay?
Okay?
We're praying for you.
All right, are we ready for the show?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. What are we starting with today?
Tonight on Thursday Night Football, the undefeated Dolphins take on Burrow and the 1-2 Bengals. Tua is questionable with his injuries.
Yeah.
But I like the Dolphins a lot this game still.
Yeah, you were shocked back before you retired from gambling.
Yeah.
When it was, midday Sunday instead of end of the day Sunday,
Yeah.
and you were on fire. You were looking at this week's lines, and you were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are underdogs. And at that point, they were 2.5-point underdogs.
Right.
They are now 3.5 or 4-point underdogs. The line shifted even more towards Cincinnati, depending on where you get it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you lost 50 to me last week on the gambling show.
Oh, you know what? You're right about that. Let me pay that debt right now. Hold on.
No, wait, hold on. I was just, do you want to do double or nothing?
I thought you quit gambling.
I mean, this isn't on the app, so.
Oh, okay. So gambling with me still allowed.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want the Dolphins straight up, or you want me to give you the points? You want me to give you the points. Say you want me to give you the points.
I want you to give me the points.
Okay, there you go. Good
Yeah,
job.
exactly.
It wouldn't be fair for you otherwise. So here's the thing.
One thing, Tua, I think there's got to be some set rules here. If Tua's not playing,
no, we can call the bet off.
Wait a minute.
But Tua's gonna play.
Okay.
But if he plays and he's ineffective, it's not like, oh, it's unfair.
Yeah, of course.
No, listen, here's the deal. And this is so yes, listen, I'll give you the full 4 points, even though I think it's gonna go off at 3.5. I don't think that's actually a great bet by me. I think this line's just about right. I do expect Cincinnati to win, but sure, double or nothing. I've got Cincinnati -4. You've got Miami +4. If Cincinnati covers, we're even. If not, then I owe you $100. No problem.
Sweet.
So here's the deal. And this is where we have to be very careful about what we're seeing and what we know and don't know about the NFL. Miami's been an unbelievable story. And Miami, to their credit, is not only one of 2 undefeateds, but they have beaten, in my opinion, 2 of the best teams in football.
Yep.
I think Baltimore's excellent. That's their only loss. I think the Bills are excellent. That's their only loss. Miami beat them both. We also, though, cannot overreact to records this early in the season when judging the strength of teams. So here's what I mean. Cincinnati in week 1. Yes, it's a bad loss because Pittsburgh's not good. But how many things had to happen for them to lose that game? They had to miss a chip shot field goal. They had to have an extra point blocked. Boswell had to hit a bomb at the end of overtime. The Dallas game, they played terribly. Despite all that, they had the ball late in the fourth quarter with the game tied. Couldn't get it done. Cooper Rush beats them. Either of those games easily could have been a Bengals win, and they're 2-1. Don't even say both of them. Just say one of them.
One of them.
Okay. Now to Miami. It took a historic fourth quarter comeback and a dropped interception by Baltimore and multiple secondary injuries for Miami to beat Baltimore. And then it took a truly unprecedented confluence of events of Buffalo having the ball for 40 minutes, Miami having it for 20. Buffalo gaining nearly 500 yards, Miami not gaining 250 yards. For Miami to still be hanging on in the final moment of the game where Buffalo ran out of time by 3 seconds because they couldn't handle the situation. I think it's fair to say Miami easily could be 2-1. And if both of these teams were 2-1, no one would bat an eye at Cincinnati at home being 3 to 4 point favorites. So it's a little misleading. Misleading's the wrong word.
Yeah.
It can be, go ahead.
I'm not in on Cincinnati. I just don't think.
I think that's totally fair. And by the way, I said going into the year, Cincinnati was not as good as a Super Bowl appearance suggests. They were a 10-win team last year. They could have lost the first playoff game to the Raiders. They should have lost the second playoff game to the Titans. They definitely should have lost their third playoff game to the Chiefs. And they did lose their fourth playoff game in the Super Bowl. However, I believe that Cincinnati and Miami are about equivalent teams.
Okay.
And so I think right now in the AFC, you have the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens. And I know Miami beat Baltimore, so it seems unfair. But you have the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens as the only 3 teams in the conference that I would be shocked if they missed the playoffs. There's those 3. Then you have a group of Miami. I want to go division by division. Miami, Cincinnati, Cleveland, I've got to include in it because Cleveland is a team that should be 3-0 if they don't gag that Jets game away. So Miami, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Jacksonville, and the Chargers, even though the Chargers are so banged up. We'll talk about them in a minute. In that next group of teams. And then in the group right beneath that is where you have Denver, Indy. I would include the Raiders, even though they're 0-3. I think the Raiders are going to be viable. And if you want to include Tennessee or Pittsburgh, you can. I don't think Miami is drastically better than Cincinnati. The one way to make Cincinnati look really bad is to have a ferocious pass rush. Miami does not have that. Melvin Ingram's the only person on their team that's gotten any pressure on quarterbacks all year. And it's going to be, from a pass rush perspective, far more similar for Cincinnati to the Jets game they just played than to their first 2 games against Dallas and Pittsburgh. I do like Cincinnati tonight, and I think America is going to, in 3 weeks, look back and say, remember when people were pretending they thought Miami was the best team in football? And I think everyone's going to listen. They are going into the year. I thought they were a 9-8 team and going to be the last team out of the playoffs, the best team that doesn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Going into the year, I thought the Bengals were going to be a 10-11 win team, wild card, and one of the last teams in the playoffs. If Miami wins this game, that flips it because now it's 4-0. Cincinnati's 1-3, and Miami would have the tiebreaker. I like Cincinnati tonight. We'll see what happens. All right, next.
Okay. As a Chiefs fan, you've got to be thrilled with how the AFC West is turning out.
Woo!
The Broncos and Russell Wilson have looked like a total mess throughout 3 weeks.
And it's bullshit they have 2 wins. They should be 0-3 and dead.
Yeah, they're
because they won't be as bad. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Very good.
Russell has been so bad that you've got to anticipate he's going to get a little better. I mean, they haven't cracked 17 points this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fact that they have been this bad and they're somehow 2-1
right
actually bodes well for them in that Russell has played the worst football of his life. Their coach has been so bad. He's one more bad coaching decision away from making an SNL skit.
Right.
And they're 2-1. But yes, they are not. Some people tried to convince me that they were going to be this 12-13 win. They were a quarterback away team. They're clearly not that. Go ahead. Next.
Yeah. And the Raiders are 0-3, and the Chargers are so banged up in key spots. But which one of these teams could you see turning around and actually coming for KC, giving them a run for their money?
The Raiders are better than 0-3. Okay. And I think the Raiders in 2 months.
Who did the Raiders play last week?
The Raiders keep giving. Can I tell you how they've lost all their games? Because it's so everyone remembers the way they lost the Cardinals game because they had that game in hand and they just gave it away.
That's where Kyler Murray threw the 2-point conversion.
This past week was worse because they tried to do to Tennessee what Kyler did to them. Tennessee was beating them the entire game. The Raiders were down 2 scores late in the fourth quarter. Have a red zone turnover. Looks like it's over. But then they get a field goal. Now they're down 8. Then they get a touchdown essentially as time's expiring. But they don't get the 2-point conversion that Kyler did get on them. So week 1, they played the Chargers. Chargers were healthier then. At that point, a really good team. Derek Carr turns the ball over 4 times. They lose by 5. Okay. Week 2, the blow up against Arizona, losing overtime. Week 3, they don't show up against Tennessee. I don't think they're a good team, but I don't think they're a abysmal team as their record suggests. We talked about Denver. I had the Chargers in the AFC Championship game. The best players on the Chargers are the following: Justin Herbert, their quarterback; Rashawn Slater, their left tackle; Joey Bosa, their pass rusher; Derwin James, their do-it-all safety. Keenan Allen, their wide receiver. J.C. Jackson, their big free agent pickup corner. Those are the 6 best players. Justin Herbert has a rib injury that he's going to be dealing with for weeks, if not longer. The coach who I used to defend left him in the game, down 28, throwing passes and taking hits. Their next best player, Rashawn Slater, their left tackle, is done for the year. Their next best player, Joey Bosa, their pass rusher, is on IR, just had core muscle surgery, so that's like a stomach surgery. He's out indefinitely. Their next best player, Derwin James, is healthy, but he has missed 2 full seasons in his career with injury. Their next best guy, Keenan Allen, has already missed time with injury. Their next best guy, J.C. Jackson, had offseason knee surgery, missed week 1. They rushed him back for the Chiefs game in week 2. They played him the entire game, and he's been out since then. The Chargers, who historically are the most snake-bitten team in the league with injuries, already are dealing with significant injuries to the 4 of their 6 best players. Okay, wait. 5 of their 6, everyone but Derwin James. So the AFC West, which people were predicting would have 3 playoff teams. Some people thought, could this be the first time in NFL history all 4 playoff teams from a division make it? That all the wild cards, now, yet last year would have been the first year that ever could have happened because they expanded the playoffs. You would need 7 teams. It might be a 1 playoff team division. So the short version to answer your question is yes. For the Chiefs' purposes, if this division was what it was supposed to be, gagging away that Colts game is a far bigger deal. But now they're 1-0 in the division. No one else in the division looks good. The Broncos don't scare me at all. The Raiders haven't been able to beat the Chiefs in a decade. So, yeah, I feel good. All right, next.
Lamar Jackson bet on himself in the offseason, and it is paying off very nicely.
Yeah.
He leads the league in passing touchdowns and passer rating, 5th in rushing yards.
Think about that for a second. Leads the league in passer rating.
Yep.
Leads the league in passing touchdowns. And 5th, not amongst quarterbacks, 5th in rushing yards amongst players.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. All right, next.
Yeah.
Or keep going, sorry.
With 12 combined passing and rushing touchdowns, he has more touchdowns than 30 teams in the NFL.
No, and that's even not as impressive as it sounds. Because you're like, there's 32 teams, so there's only 2 teams that have as many touchdowns. And one of the teams is the Ravens. So it's and the other team's the Lions, who have 12. There is no team in the league that has more touchdowns than Lamar. Go ahead.
Right. And if the Ravens beat Buffalo this Sunday, this story will be that much bigger. Did the Ravens officially make a terrible mistake with not signing Lamar in the offseason?
Listen, it's looking like it. And here's the thing. As great as Lamar has played, he's not a perfect player. I understand there are some on the more, call it mature passing routes and progressions. He's not Mahomes, right? He's not Josh Allen on that.
Right.
But you do not need to be a perfect player to get a contract extension. Kyler is a far inferior player with no playoff success. He got a contract extension. Deshaun Watson, set aside all the off-field stuff, is at best an equivalent player, has less postseason success than Lamar. He got a contract extension. When Josh Allen got his contract extension, he hadn't yet turned into this fully formed version of himself. He had 2 playoff wins. Lamar has 1. He's played so well that now, even if he were to suffer an injury, he'd be a guy that a team would be ecstatic to throw $250 million at.
Right.
And the way it's going to work is the exclusive. So there's 2 franchise tags. One is more expensive than the other. Let me just explain this very quickly. Franchise tag in the NFL is this. If a player's contract has expired, you can only do this 1 player per team. You can just place the franchise tag on them. There's no negotiation. The non-exclusive franchise tag, it's the average salary of the 5 highest paid guys at his position, but it's non-exclusive, meaning another team can then try to sign him. If he signs that contract and you choose not to match, that team gives you their next 2 first-round picks. So think about a team like the Patriots, right? That are not, well, the Patriots might actually have a great pick this year, but let's pretend they didn't. a team that the Titans last year, okay? The Titans, who had the number 1 record in the AFC, they're picking in the late 20s, know the quarterback's a problem.
Right.
They could try to sign Lamar away, and all you're getting is like the 27th pick of that year's draft and whatever first-round pick they have next year if you don't match.
Right.
The Ravens would never risk that. So they have to put the exclusive franchise tag on it. That is more expensive than the average of the top 5 guys at the position. The exclusive franchise tag for next year for a quarterback is going to be $45 million, fully guaranteed for 1 season. You can place a franchise tag on a guy technically 3 times, really only twice. The second year of a franchise tag is a 20% raise from the previous year's salary. So by not signing Lamar, if he chooses to go the franchise tag route, it's $45 million next year, $55 million the following year, and then you have no rights to him at all. Then he is a true free agent, allowed to negotiate and sign with anyone, and you will have paid $100 million guaranteed for 2 years of Lamar, and then he can leave. Right now, he looks like the league MVP. So that is the...
So you're saying it was dumb?
Yes. That's the too long didn't read version of what I just said is they screwed this up.
Okay.
And I think it's because they don't believe in it. I said this on TV. I want to reiterate it here.
They don't believe in him?
They treat Lamar in all their decisions. And there's the clock. I'm so bad at this. Like a really fun rental car that they enjoy driving, that they like, taking out, and they don't mind if they hop a few curbs, if they put the cheap gas in it, because they know long-term this isn't going to be my problem. They run quarterback power runs with him. They don't spend money on wide receivers. He's doing this passing-wise. His top 2 wide receivers in their career prior to this year had less than 1,000 yards combined between them and 3 total touchdowns. So while Josh Allen gets Stephon Diggs and Kyler gets DeAndre Hopkins and Hollywood Brown, who they traded for from Baltimore, they traded him away, and Jalen Hurts gets A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, who they drafted, and Tua gets Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and Mahomes prior to this year had Tyreek and Kelsey. He has Rashad Bateman and guys. Rashad Bateman, who's having a nice year, but I don't think he's a superstar. They don't sign him. They don't give him weapons. They call an offense that puts him in constant jeopardy. It's like they think they're having a fling with Lamar Jackson, not that they're married to him long term. And he's going to make them pay through the nose on it. All right, what's last?
We're talking a little basketball with Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
He said he lost out on a $100 million extension after he chose to not get vaccinated. He says, and I quote, "I gave up 4 years, 100 and something million, deciding to be unvaccinated. And that was a decision," Irving said. Quote, "I had to deal with the real life circumstances of losing my jobs for this decision."
Yeah.
Nets GM Sean Marks said he stood by Kyrie and stood by his decision and had his back. Nets fans might point out Kyrie's vaccination status doesn't matter moving forward. Does the Kyrie situation resolve itself now that we're in a new spot with the whole pandemic thing?
Well, yeah, but now it'll just be something different. Listen.
Saying Kyrie's bound to...
Of course he is. He's out here sharing Alex Jones clips. And I wish I remembered who made this point. It was a black sports journalist that I follow and respect a lot. God dog it. And I can't remember who it was. So my apologies. But what I'm about to say here, I just don't want to plagiarize a really smart point.
Right.
But Kyrie sharing the Alex Jones stuff and going all conspiracy theorist fails to recognize, yes, there are such ridiculous racial inequalities in how people get medical care. There's a history of systemic racism within, who has access to medical care, all these things. And the racism and the attacks on black people throughout the pandemic was not in trying to trick black people into getting vaccinated. It was in the fact that when the vaccine was first available, if you were not incredibly tech savvy, it was damn near impossible to get an appointment. And that obviously who's the most tech savvy? That skews with wealth, that skews with education, which skews against minority communities. If you lived in an affluent neighborhood, you were more likely to have, even if you could navigate the appointment stuff online, more slots available, more places doing it. That's where the real crime was, in that why we saw such ridiculous numbers and the jarring differences in death rate of the pandemic for minority communities comparing to white communities. It wasn't because of some third eye opening that you can see that they're trying to trick folks into getting microchips and all this stupid bullshit Kyrie with a big audience was proffering. So we can never talk about Kyrie and the vaccine stuff again after today. And everyone can make their own choices. That's fine. I'm not even having that argument. But you don't get a gold star for trying to show everyone, oh, I had this incredibly principled stance that you're saying cost you over $100 million, when the principled stance was based on cursory study of YouTube videos and no scientific backing whatsoever. Because I do believe Kyrie Irving wants to do good in this world. You know, the easiest way to do good, if you have an extra $100 million bucks. I think he puts his money to good use. I think he does support the native communities. I think his heart is in the right place. I also think, and I don't say this lightly, he's an idiot. And don't clip and put on social, because I don't want it taken out of context. Some of the most dangerous people in the world are not dumb people, but they are people that don't know what they don't know. And Kyrie leaning into the Alex Joneses of the world, who is, honest to God, one of the worst human beings of modern history. This guy's in court right now because for years he claimed those children that died at Sandy Hook a decade ago, the little kindergartners, were crisis actors, and no one died there, and tortured their families about it. Kyrie's elevating that man to a higher platform and then wants us to believe he has solved the riddles of the universe. No, you haven't, buddy. And so the short answer to your question is, yeah, I don't think there's going to be more vaccine problems with Kyrie, but there'll be something else, because there's always something else with him. Sorry, I didn't mean to get so angry. We'll be right back. Welcome back in. What's Right, Nick Wright, episode 75. All right, we ended the last segment on a sour note. Hold on, my phone's buzzing. So we'll get to, we'll try to have a little more fun here. Hold on. Breaking news. There's a little breaking news here.
Okay.
Oh my God. From The Athletic. I want to make sure this is right. Yeah. Direct messages and text messages reveal that LeBron James, through the LeBron James Family Foundation, over the last few years has funneled hundreds of thousands of dollars that were supposed to go to his charitable endeavors to Sierra Canyon, the bougie private school that Bronny goes to help fund the basketball program. Further messages reveal that LeBron James and California Governor Gavin Newsom have been engaged ever since LeBron signed with the Lakers, in a multi-year scheme diverting more than $4 million from the California Highway Patrol, that's the police budget, to various other LeBron James businesses and interests. So what they're reporting is that LeBron used his charity to funnel money to his kid's school for their sports program, and that LeBron and the governor of California conspired together to take money from the cops for LeBron pet projects. Oh my God. Well, that's going to be the only thing we talk about for the next months. That'd be pretty fucking shocking, right? But that is the Brett Favre story, America. Especially with the latest development that Favre's charity, which was supposed to give money to kids and cancer patients, was actually giving money to his daughter's high school. That's the story. Except instead of Gavin Newsom and police budget, it's the governor of Mississippi and welfare recipients. So that's, as the Brett Favre story continues to metastasize, that was my little A Time to Kill moment. If you remember that Matthew McConaughey, Samuel L. Jackson movie. Now imagine it was LeBron James. Now imagine it was anyone other than Brett Favre. And it was anyone other than the poorest people in the country, poor folks in Mississippi getting screwed here. Can you fathom if the story was LeBron and Gavin Newsom took money from the cops for LeBron to give fake speeches and to build new pickleball facilities because that's his new thing? No, I mean, I feel like it would be something that would be constantly in the headlines and not a few intrepid journalists continuing to, follow up on.
You're not lying.
As that story continues, Favre's charity, Favre for Hope, had a stated mission to support disadvantaged children and cancer patients, donated more than $130,000 to the University of Southern Miss Athletic Foundation while he was trying to finance a new volleyball center. A few years before, the highest gift that it gave was to the University of Southern. The whole thing's gross. Gave $60,000 to Oak Grove High in Hattiesburg, where his daughter was a volleyball player. It's unbelievable. Okay, all right. That was my little bit there. A little try. Sorry for the okie doke audience.
I saw where you were going like a minute in.
You figured it out?
Yeah.
You were on to me? Okay, no problem. All right, Damonza, let's get the B block going.
All right, we got Chiefs-Bucs here. Your Chiefs had a meltdown against Matt Ryan and the Colts.
Yeah,
they now go to Tampa or maybe Minneapolis, depending on what's going on in Tampa Bay with the hurricane.
Yep.
To play the Bucs. Brady is 7-2 after a loss, and the Bucs have Mike Evans returning.
Yep.
So we like the Bucs getting points at home, right?
Well, they're not getting a lot of points. I think it's like 1. It's basically a pick 'em.
Okay. I thought it was 2.5 for some reason.
The lines moved a bit, so maybe it was 2.5 at one point. At this morning, at last check, it was 1. We do not. I think there's a bounce back spot for the Chiefs. I also think that you have the Bills could lose a second straight to Baltimore. Either Kansas City or Tampa, one of them will lose a second straight by definition. They're playing each other. They both lost last week. I don't think it will be a stinging indictment unless any of those teams get rocked. If all those games are close, I don't think any of this is going to be a stinging indictment of any of those teams.
Okay.
Here is what I am interested in, okay? The Chiefs' secondary strength after Mahomes was supposed to be their offensive line. Now, no one can run on Tampa, and the Chiefs couldn't even run on Indy. So this is going to have to be a Patrick Mahomes game. Is he going to have the time? Shaq Barrett came out and said the offensive line's the same offensive line whose ass we kicked in the Super Bowl. This is a get-right game for us. I'm interested to see it. I'm not that worried right now about Tampa's offense. Tampa's offense is still a significant work in progress.
Yeah, they didn't look great.
Well, and now they were down all their wide receivers, and they do get Mike Evans back. And We'll see about one of the, we're doing this Thursday morning. We'll see what the final injury report is. Tampa's offense shouldn't be as inept as it was against Green Bay. But because the Chiefs it is such a terrible loss that they had to Indy. If they needed a little more tightening of the script, if you will, going into a week, this would be the week. The other thing I want to see from the Chiefs is more aggressiveness on 4th down. And what I really want to see is Harrison Butker back out there because they cut that kicker. They cut him. He's done. Honest to God, that might have been his last kick in the NFL.
Wait, I
Amendola.
was under the impression that the guy that was doing the kicks was the receiver. Like there was
The safety?
Yeah,
No,
I
no,
thought-
no, no. I wish he was. They signed an actual kicker. Justin Reed
they
is their
released him after 1 week.
Well, 2 weeks. He
2 weeks,
played the week
okay.
before and was fine, and then he was terrible that week. So I think they signed Matthew Wright. In a
Okay.
game this close, I don't love that we're, you know what I mean, going
Testing
through the
out
kicker
field goal kickers.
carousel.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams dealing with injuries. All things considered, the Chiefs have been pretty lucky on the injury front. I'd say average luck. Their first pick of the draft that they had, Trent McDuffie, the corner, has been out with a hamstring since week 1, and they lost their kicker in week 1, and you could say they lost in week 3 because of the kicker thing, but I'm not going to whine about that. The kicker thing concerns me. They're not going to be able to run the ball. I don't even know if they should try to run the ball. The question is, Todd Bowles, his whole career has been based on creating pressure, heating up the opposing quarterback, sending blitzes. He was able to resist the urge to do that against Mahomes in the Super Bowl. They were able to get pressure with just their front four, and it led to the only start-to-finish bad playoff game of Mahomes' career. Is he going to be able to resist that urge again? If he sends the blitz, Mahomes will pick him apart. If he doesn't, could be a tight game, but we're doing our pick show later today. It'll come out tomorrow. I've got to tell you, I do like the Chiefs in this spot. Man, I can't wait for that Chiefs-Bucs game. Sunday night, gonna have all day, the anxiety of it. You know what I also can't wait for? They told me we have a brand new game. They haven't told me what the game is, and they said we have a fancy new graphic to go along with it. Another reason people should be watching on YouTube. You can subscribe on Spotify and Apple, iTunes, all that stuff. But we watch on YouTube, you can see these cool graphics. I'm going to see it for the first time as well. What's the new game, Damonza?
This one's different. This is Dr. Wright.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, so I'll tell you
Oh!
Yeah.
Where did they get that picture of you?
I have no idea, honestly.
Because that's when your hair was... Oh, man, I can already see this is going to be used against me in Photoshop purposes. They're going to put
photo looks good.
Yeah, but they're going to take that syringe out of my hands and put something else in it. They're going to change your face. When you're as tortured on the internet as much as I am, you can see these things coming.
Yeah.
You can all of a sudden, you're like, oh, that's going to be there. And all of a sudden, okay. All right, so
You're the doctor.
Yep.
I, Nurse Damonza, will give you a case, and in your best medical opinion, you suggest how we save the patient.
Okay, no problem.
All right, so this is our first one, Dr. Wright.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis called the Los Angeles Lakers underdogs at their media day.
Yeah.
I can't be sure, but it seems like Lakers are suffering from deep delusion and possibly depression.
Mm-hmm.
Further tests are needed. Dr. Wright, what is your diagnosis of your patient, the Lakers?
Well, listen, Nurse Damonza, I know you're, not through medical school yet, but I got to say your diagnosis is spot on. Yeah. I agree. I mean, not delusion about calling themselves underdogs, but delusion about thinking this team is going to be anything other than a soap opera. I mean, I heard Anthony Davis say he wants to play 82 games. I'd sign up right now for 72.
Okay.
You know what? I'd take right now 62. Give me 62 games, Anthony Davis. I'll be happy. 72, I'll be thrilled. 82 ain't happening.
Okay.
We got Patrick Beverley saying Russell Westbrook is his best friend on the Lakers. Did you see the other thing Beverley said was the favorite moment of his career?
Of him getting the block on LeBron?
I can't believe I got to watch this guy. So listen, I don't think this lineup and roster fits. I think we found that out last year. I will never come to terms with the fact that the Lakers traded for Anthony Davis, had the best record in basketball, pandemic hit, they didn't go to the bubble, wash everybody out. Everyone calls it a bubble title. The Lakers were the 1 seed. They were the 1 seed pre-pandemic. They were the favorites pre-pandemic. They wash everybody out. The next year, they run it back, and they had the second best record in all of basketball before LeBron got hurt. LeBron got hurt, it goes to hell. Anthony Davis gets hurt in the playoffs, it goes further to hell. And then that summer, they blow the whole team up. They were the Vegas favorites to repeat, They had the second best record in the sport. And then their top two guys were out with injury and they blow the whole thing up. And now it's Russell Westbrook, Patrick Beverly. So yeah, the depression is me. The delusion is anyone thinking the Lakers without making a massive trade can contend. I can't believe it's the most disenchanted I've been with a LeBron James team maybe ever. Certainly since the 2018 Cavs and maybe
time
ever.
for the little reality check.
Yeah, maybe. All right, next.
All right, Dr. Ryder, our next patient is the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have received word that they could potentially receive a quarterback transplant. Dr. Wright, what do you advise for your patient, the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, you're going to die if you don't do the transplant.
Okay.
So do what you want, but I'm telling you right now. Now, I don't want to mislead you. The transplant might kill you too.
Okay.
I'm not guaranteeing this new heart, Kenny Pickett, is going to save your life.
Okay.
But I am guaranteeing your current heart, Mitch Trubisky, is going to kill you. There's a thing we call the Widowmaker. It's a heart attack that nobody survives. That's inevitable.
Okay.
In fact, we can find it. Let me find it for you. I tell you the exact date. If you don't switch quarterbacks and give your team a chance. One moment. Pittsburgh. That Widowmaker.
That's in what, week 6? Week 5.
Would be coming at the latest on October 30th. That's against Philadelphia. Because maybe you survive this week against the Jets.
Maybe.
And then you're at the Bills. Then you're home for the Bucs. Then you're at Miami. And then October 30th, you're at Philadelphia. You're dead by then. And Tomlin's record of never being below 500 is dead. It's all dead. I would have done the transplant this past week. Remember, they played last Thursday, so they have the extra time and they have the Jets. Okay. So it's like that's a nice soft landing for the rookie. Instead, Buffalo's pass rush, Tampa's pass rush, Miami, and then Philly are their next 4. So, you know what?
Get the transplant.
I would get the transplant, but I'd also transplant or not. I'd get your affairs in order. I'd start talking to your family. I'd make sure everybody knows, because I don't think you're long for this world either way. Next.
All right. Despite it being only week 4, the Cardinals are on life support with a nasty case of chronic Cliff Kingsbury-itis. Dr. Wright, will DeAndre Hopkins return be the cure for the Cardinals, or will it already be too late?
So here's the deal. There's only one way to rid yourself of Cliff Kingsbury-itis. You have to cut it out of your body. Yeah. And until you do, even when you feel good, it's going to be lurking in the background. Then it might come up and get you. However, because of the conference they're in, I don't think the Cardinals are dead either. So we got to find 7 playoff teams. Who in the NFC are we fully confident is going to be there in the end? Philly, Green Bay, the Rams, and I'm fully confident in Tampa. That's 4. We got to find 3 more teams. Dallas, maybe. I'm skeptical. The Vikings, I believe in. Now, let's lock the Vikings in. We're at 5. The Bears and everyone else, Washington, obviously not. The Giants, obviously not. The Bears, obviously not. The Lions, I can't say obviously not. I don't believe in them, though. We're going to say no. The NFC South, the Saints are disaster. The Falcons aren't trying to win.
Yeah.
And the Panthers can't get out of their own way. The Panthers are not dead, but they can't get out of their own way. So that takes us to the NFC West. I like the Niners. Pencil them in. There's still 1 spot open. And the Niners are by no means a sure thing, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think Cliff Kingsbury-itis necessarily kills you this year, but it'll kill you eventually if you don't cut it out. So you guys make your own decision, but I'm not writing the Cardinals off yet for the season, but they have a clear ceiling as long as he's their coach. And by the way, did you see Kyler's latest quote?
No.
I told guys when you're playing with me, you can't be falling asleep. Got to be awake. Kyler's a pain in the ass, I think. I don't know that people love playing with Kyler Murray. I don't. And he, aside from the second half against the Raiders, he's been bad since the playoff game. So it's just something to watch with him. All right, last.
Okay. You administered an injection of Baker Mayfield to the Panthers offense to make them a complete unit. However, it seems that nothing is changing.
Yeah.
Dr. Wright, is it time to change treatment plans and introduce 50 cc's of Sam Darnold?
No, it'll kill him.
Okay.
They're allergic. No. That'll kill the patient.
So you think it's just taking time?
They might die anyway.
Okay.
No. I'm not saying Baker's the cure.
Okay.
But I know Sam is poison. So no, absolutely not. That's that you saw the little bracelet they came in wearing, which shows you their allergies. Darnold's on there. It'll stop their heart.
Okay.
No. Listen, I'm not here to defend Baker Mayfield right now. He has not played good, or he's not played well. He has not played good football. But Darnold will kill the patient.
Okay.
So no, absolutely not. I enjoyed that game.
That was
You did
fun.
a good job with it. It was fun. Nice little rapid fire. We have a new C block coming at you. We're trying out another new thing. This one, I do know what it is. We will do that as we wrap up episode 75 of What's Right with Nick Wright. Welcome back in. What's Right, Nick Wright, episode 75. I jumped the gun a bit there. All right, we're trying something new for the C block. We're going to go rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you one. You're going to ask me one. We got 4 minutes. We'll see how many we can do. So we have quick answers, all right? I'm going to go to you first. Who's better, you at 2K or me at FIFA? All right, that's not fast or rapid fire. Just give an answer.
Let me at 2K.
You at 2K. Yeah. I actually agree with that. All right, next, you go.
Oh, best place outside of London to host an international game.
Oh, Barcelona. You got Barcelona is, for me, a top one city in the world, but I haven't traveled everywhere. But it's unbelievable. The food's great. The people are beautiful. It's on a beach. It's cosmopolitan. They already have an amazing stadium because of the soccer team. Barcelona is where it should go next. Next.
Okay. It's your question.
Oh, it's my question. Sorry about that. My bad. Have you seen Jimmy Butler's new hairdo?
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
I didn't think that it was real. But
it's not real.
It is.
No, but it's not. He's lying. You can't grow dreads in a month.
I mean, he kind of had like smaller dreads in his
No. He got extensions. He got extensions. Now that you know that it's extensions, what do you think of it?
Hey, man, do what you do. It's
oh,
cool.
You're good with it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You know what? I'm going to sit that one out.
Okay.
I feel like, you know what? There are a lot of things I deserve an opinion on. Jimmy Butler's hairstyle, I'm going to sit that one out. Go ahead, next.
Word up. All right, is pickleball or F1 more of a sport?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. I think pickleball is more of a sport. I think F1 is far more difficult, takes more training, more all of it.
Okay.
But pickleball, I think, is more of a sport just because it has all the elements you would need of a sport, where there's a defense, there's a score, there's a ball, all those things. All right, now my turn again. Once the NBA season starts, do you think you are going to be as locked in on Sunday football as you've been the last few weeks? Do you think by then it will have been 8 weeks of NFL?
I think
you'll be invested.
I'm going to answer the question.
Yeah.
I think I will probably be just as invested, if not maybe a little less invested. But I do think when NBA season rolls around, I think the gambling career thing might come back to life.
Okay, well,
I'm sticking to the night. Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you something real quick. There is nothing more tilting than betting basketball. Okay. We can talk about it later. But because there are times where what overtime does to you in basketball games, you have a team that you think's going to win outright, and they're 7.5 point underdogs, and you bet them plus 7.5, and they lose in overtime by 9, or a team that
are you saying it's just like waiting to lose? Long?
Well, it's just there's just a bet is never safe.
And then
because of overtime,
overtimes.
And then, and the other thing with betting the NBA is you love a team, they're favored by 2.5. You're like, they're gonna kill them. They're up 10 the entire fourth quarter, and all of a sudden they're up 5 with 2 seconds left.
I honestly
and the
think
other
I'm gonna
team,
enjoy that. Like,
the other team shoots a half quarter. Oh, it's tilting, buddy. All right, it's your question? It's your turn.
So how ridiculous is it to say that there's a quarterback controversy in Dallas?
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And I can't believe my colleagues in the media have leaned into it the way they have. It baffles me that they are trying to buy Jerry Jones's bullshit on this. There is nothing Cooper Rush could do to take Dak Prescott's job. Do you disagree?
No, I
No.
don't. I think it's wildly disrespectful.
I think it's insane. I think it is Jerry Jones just baiting the media and the media falling into it. All right, let me ask you this real quick. Do you think there's any sport that I could beat you in?
No,
We had
maybe golf.
Well, definitely golf.
Okay. Well, if we're not, if you're gonna say definitely golf, then there's nothing else on the table that you're definitely beating. I mean,
So I thought I was gonna beat you in that race that we had as a family the other day. And Damonza he almost fell because he was wearing slides and still dusted me.
Man.
And it also, your mom said it, but it made us all realize we should have made you run track in high school.
Oh,
because
man,
you have
trust me, I
such
was running plenty of track out there with Britt Youngblood.
Oh yeah, well,
Running
your
plenty
basketball coach,
plenty
yeah.
of track with that guy.
But
I
think you would have been great at it because you have such long legs. Here's the thing: if you got a few golf lessons, I think you'd be really good.
okay.
Because you're a natural athlete. The sport that I know you'd be awesome at is tennis. All right, so there it was, episode 75 of What's Right with Nick Wright. Sorry if it was a little awkward transition there at the end. We had slight technical difficulties when I think our production shut down right before Damonza was about to say, I heard LeBron James might try to go play college football, so I'm thinking about doing the same thing. Is that where you were going with that, by the way?
Yeah.
I figured that. So, you know what I mean?
Wasn't necessarily college. Didn't have to be college, but
Well, you are out of high school eligible.
NAIA type of thing.
Well, that's a college. Yeah, some level of college football. Okay, that'll come up on another podcast. It's a great episode. Remember to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. Gambling Show coming out tomorrow. What's Right? Hey, thanks for watching. Smash or just lightly tap that subscribe button. It all works the same. To get more from the show, and make sure you click. Why don't you want to mash the bell too, guys? Or just, lightly tap the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just hit the link in the description below.